Hello and welcome to someone, if you go back 20 years, and having been a scholar of sport and a student of sport, I can say this, that when I look back to my India, I look back to an India where there was no tradition, the running revolution that we now see today, where we see the number of distance running races and proliferating and running clubs and all of that, nothing was there. And then I see this man, and he was at the core of this revolution that we now celebrate. Each one of us have realized that it's a fitter India, a healthier India, an India that embodies change, and an India that can make a difference to the world. And again, Milind Soman stands at the very center of it as the embodiment of that change. So this is a very
You're very
special
kind.
interview. This is a very special interview with someone who has inspired us all. Milind, first question: when did you first take to this, and why?
When you say this, I'm assuming you mean sport.
Sport and the
And
and the whole fitness ethos.
well, so they're two different things. So because I started swimming competitively at the age of 9 at the national level, there was no conversation about fitness at that time, or even health, or anything, not even wellness, nothing like that. So I'm talking about the mid 70s, 1970s, right? So I continued representing Maharashtra, and I also represented India in swimming till the age of 23, which was around 1988 or so. And even till that point, there was very little conversation about sports or health or wellness or anything. And I didn't think about it much because that was my lifestyle. That's how I grew up. And then when I started modeling, which was, of course, by chance, somebody just asked me to do a campaign, and I said yes because they paid a lot of money. And at that time, people, because now as I was exposed to a different world, they found that my body was remarkable. And that's when I noticed it, because I hadn't noticed it before that. Everybody I knew had a great body. They were really fit because we were all swimming at the national level. I knew the only people I knew were athletes, and everybody who was in the national team and so on. So to me, it wasn't such a big deal. But people started commenting on the whole aura that I realized what it was of a sports person, the energy of a sports person, not just about the looks or the features or anything particular like that. It was just a feeling. And so then I started paying more attention to it. And of course, it helped me in my profession at that time because I was, I think, one of the first people that people noticed that had a good body. And it was in the media, so it was important. And also with magazines and newspapers and so on. And then I started acting, and a lot of people. I think there was a wave around the world, and people started noticing actors internationally, like Sylvester Stallone and Tom Cruise, and all these people with great bodies and very very fit. And people in the Indian media also wanted to be like that. And once more people in the media, say the film industry and the modeling industry, the fashion industry, started paying attention to the way they looked in terms of the body, not just the face and not just the acting. Marathon. So I think the credit really goes to the Mumbai Marathon in a big way. That when the Mumbai Marathon started and the way it was positioned and the way it was promoted, you suddenly had a huge wave of people who tried out endurance running,
Correct.
half marathons and full marathons, and that really took off in a tremendous way. I mean, tremendous. It was before that, before the Mumbai Marathon, there was a smattering of marathons across the country. Now there is a running event almost every Sunday, not almost, multiple running events. It's quite shocking. I mean, it's great, but it's shocking because, as you mentioned, we don't have a tradition of sports or swimming for the love of swimming or doing triathlons or whatever just to test themselves. This concept is fairly new, but I think it really started with the Mumbai Marathon. I know I started running with the Mumbai Marathon. I did in the first edition. I decided I would do a marathon, at least one, and I did the half, and I was hooked to running from then on. And then when I turned 50, yes. So when I turned 50, I wanted to do something that was memorable, And somebody suggested the Ironman, the triathlon, and I'd never heard of it at that time. But I thought the distances were really, really interesting. And I said it would be great to do this at the age of 50. And I did it. And I just did it because I thought it would be something interesting. But as soon as I did it, the kind of response from across the board in the media, every single publication was calling me to say that, how did you do this at the age of 50? And I was surprised, but again, pleasantly, that there was an interest. Like I told you, I've been doing this since I was 9 years old and nobody really cared, or even running for almost 25 years, but nobody cared. And suddenly 10 years ago, I realized that there was a big burgeoning interest in fitness and in how to be healthier and how to live a better life and how to have a more healthy lifestyle and things like that.
So is this a story then? I mean, when I host the Mumbai Marathon every year and the 60,000 people run past and 2.5 hours and in front of that PD stage, I see a revolution unfolding. So is this a story then? It's of the last 15 years of the newer India, of the
I
India
think so.
of the last,
I
basically the
think so.
post-millennium India?
I think so. Most definitely, 15 years, not more than that. And in fact, talking about health is just, I would say, in the last 5 or 6 years,
Mhm.
And of course, a lot of that is about how to eat more protein and things like that. But still, like I said, more and more people in India start running than in any other country in the world, which is fantastic. And those
Absolutely.
runners then look for other endurance sports to do. So then there is swimming and cycling, and then they look for the triathlons. And I know because my wife and I, Ankita and I, just completed the half Ironman in Estonia a couple of days ago. And the Ironman company itself, the organization, they were so excited. And in Estonia, which a lot of Indians may not even have heard of, and Tallinn, which is the capital of Estonia, there were more than 80 Indians participating. So the organizers came to me and told me with great excitement that, we have never seen so many Indians participating in our city
Fantastic.
before. Yeah, in our city before. And we were one of the largest contingents from across the world participating.
Fabulous. Two questions
Oh,
before I let you go. We'll finish quickly. One, your
sure, sure.
association with the JBG marathon and how you have seen it transform and how you have seen Kolkata take to distance running. That's the first one. And then the next, I'll ask the last one. So your association with this particular race, how you have seen it evolve over the last decade.
Well, for one thing, I'd like to say that sustaining an event for 10 years is fantastic. I mean, it's a great initiative. I think all initiatives to promote endurance sport are fantastic, but being able to sustain it for 10 years and hopefully for another 100 years is incredible. And all credit to the organizers and to Gaurav Jajodia especially, because he himself is a triathlete. He himself understands the value of endurance sport and living a better life and being healthier and being fitter and just being able to enjoy your life more. He knows, and he's able to promote this in a big way. So I think that's fantastic. I personally haven't been involved for 10 years with the JBG Kolkata 10K. I think just a couple of years, but I've seen the kind of excitement, the kind of energy. And again, I think that is special because when we look at Bengal and Kolkata, we don't look at it as a sporting center, you know? But maybe it's going to be a sporting center because the kind of energy and the kind of excitement that I've seen over the last couple of years there it can be life-changing for anyone observing that. Just watching the people of every kind of background, every shape and size, every age group, coming there and pitting themselves against what they believed they were and finding their new selves and their new purpose. I mean, it is just very, very inspiring. So I think it's a great event. And I think even better than that, the way they've sustained it. Big congratulations to them and definitely all the best of my wishes for the future.
Last question. When you said it right about Kolkata, I mean, being someone from this city, for the born, brought up, studied, worked, etc., etc., and you're spot on. And I see the change in all of the distance running events that this city now has. But when I see India, when I see the larger landscape of India, we are planning to host the Commonwealth Games, planning to host the Olympic Games. Every Sunday, we now see distance running events. I see a revolution going on, and I feel part of that as someone who studies sport for a living. For me, sport is about hope. Sport is not about the toxicity that I see at 9 p.m. television. It still makes us feel Indian in a right sense. What does sport, running, physical culture, physicality, all of this mean to Milind Soman? And does that give you hope that from a 9-year-old to now a 60-year-old, you have presided over this revolution in this lovely country called India?
Well, I don't know about hope, but I see the change. And I think that everybody who has been part of this change is extremely lucky. And it has been their privilege, I think, to be able to understand that this is something important that they need to do and to then receive the value of it. They're lucky that they were able to do that, because there are so many hundreds and hundreds of millions more in our country who don't realize it. They're not lucky enough to see that. They have the opportunity, but they don't take it up. So eventually they will, maybe they will, their children will, or their children's children will. But I think eventually, because this is something incredibly good for us, not only for every individual Indian citizen, but for the country itself, to create a better culture, to create a better, I would say, citizen, And because the kind of value you get from endurance sport, I mean, people think it's about the body. It's not about the body. It's about the humanity. It's about the way you are as a person that changes infinitely. And again, people only who have experienced that will know this. So of course, if there is a hope, then it is that it happens quickly, because I can see it happens faster, and it is happening faster. So I don't even need to hope. Every Sunday, there's an event. Thousands and thousands of people are taking to the sport. They're taking to swimming, even though I would say Bengal has a great champion. Mihir Sen was the first Indian to swim the English Channel. And I think those people should be celebrated and promoted, and people need to know, because sometimes people feel, nahi, hamare mein nahi hota, in our families. So maybe in some parts of India, they say that, no, in our state, it's not. But hello, Bengal, Mihir Sen, needs to be celebrated. And people like him. So I think every participant in the JBG Kolkata 10K needs to be celebrated. They are inspiring their families. They're inspiring their friends. They're inspiring a new Kolkata, a new Bengal, and a new India.
I'll end there, because ultimately, when I do spectator sport, ultimately you celebrate a star. Could be a Virat Kohli or a Milind Soman.
Yes.
But when you do participatory sport, you celebrate yourself. You're the star.
Exactly.
And that is
Yes.
the difference here when you do distance running. And that's what I celebrate. For me, sport is the opiate of the masses, and that's why we do what we do. But Milind Soman, whether you agree or not, you remain an inspiration. You continue to inspire. How many people I don't know, but even if it's one, in the words of Rousseau's general will, that's enough for me. Thank you very much for speaking to me, taking the time out, and look forward to having you in Kolkata with us when the 10th year of the JBG Kolkata Marathon happens, and spend some time together physically. And once again, see you in person and celebrate you more. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate your time.
Lovely talking to you, Boria. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.